I'm not going to go into any more details, but it does feel a little bit weird having someone tuck your trousers in. You're That's Watson. I'm this Esme. Perfect. There were some people that did comedy. There were some people that did music. There were some people that did fashion. There were some people that did like lots of other different bits and bobs, or like fitness, that kind of thing. And then I was there like, oh, I do horses. Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a little update on all of the horses, how they've been doing. Casper has been escaping a lot. We're also going to be talking about designing my new collection with Lemure, how that all came about, and also how I was in a baking challenge, invited into London with lots of other content creators. So a lot went down that day as well, so lots to update you on. But anyway, before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, and they also ship all over the world. Also, do you know what you can get at Red Post? My new collection with Lemure, which I'm going to be talking about a little bit more in a second. But it is available at Red Post, so wherever you are, you can order it online at redpostequestrian.co.uk. But anyway, yes, let's get straight into all of that kind of stuff, because I know a lot of you will be interested in the behind the scenes. I would be interested in behind the scenes, like whenever I hear of creators, when they make their own collections, that kind of thing. So I was very, very lucky to do my first launch or my first collection with Lemure back in 2022. However, the way these things work is you actually have to basically design it all has to basically get signed off a whole year in advance, because it takes a lot of time to sourcing the materials, getting them made, getting it through production, getting it shipped over, all that kind of stuff. So there is a lot that goes behind the scenes, as well as like testing products, that kind of thing, because we want to make sure that it's good for you guys, that everything is Esme approved, all that kind of stuff. So we'd been talking about doing a collection for a while, and then a pandemic happened in 2020, so don't need to talk about that. But 2021 was when we designed the first collection, and then it came out, and that was a capsule collection. It was very small, and that was the grey and the baby pink sort of collection that I did, that some of you might know. That sold out so quickly. It was like blink of an eye. Pretty much within 24 hours, it was completely sold out, apart from some sizes that aren't as popular. So that was like our first run at it. We were like, okay, we want to sell out. We want to make sure that you guys like it and that we don't just have loads of stock that's left. And because that would not be good. That would not be successful. And this time around, it's quite interesting to see there are some things that we've stocked a lot more of that we know is more popular than others. So we know that the jumping saddle pads, or the CC or close contact saddle pads, are a lot more popular than the dressage, so we have ordered in more of them. Like other things that's quite interesting is that we know that hat silks and also base layers were very, very popular, especially as I know not everybody has their own horse. Some people might ride at a riding school or ride a friend's horse, that kind of thing, so people maybe weren't as interested in buying a saddle pad but would love to buy the clothing, and also the clothing you can wear for other things. Like I wear a lot of my riding stuff at the gym and all that kind of stuff, dog walks, that kind of thing all the time. So I would say, clothing and also hat silks. Hat silks sold out so quickly because I guess one size fits all. It's a very easy present to buy, like friends and family for Christmas or birthdays or that kind of thing. And then we this time around we also have a few more products as well, so that is very exciting. I think at the time of filming this, it is not launched yet. I'm actually pre-recording this podcast because I've actually got lots of trips away. So I've got a girls trip. I'm going on a girls holiday to Nice, and then pretty much the week after that I've got a work trip to Germany for the horse show in Aachen. So I've got a busy time, so I am just pre-recording all of these podcasts. So I feel like I'm going to come back and I'm going to have so many adventures to tell you all about. However, to be fair, in the last week or the last 2 weeks have been absolutely chock-a-block. It's just been one thing after another. So I have, a lot to talk about today. But anyway, the collection. I haven't even talked about choosing the colour and things. So when designing the collection, I very kindly got invited to the Lemure HQ. I don't know what else to call it, but I went to their offices in Southampton, and that was very cool because I mean, I've been there loads of times before, but they have I think it's a Pantone book. Now these books, I don't want to think about how expensive it is. I can't remember how much they cost, but I remember them telling me, and it was ridiculous, because they have this book and it has basically all the colours of the rainbow, all of the colours that you could ever imagine, and it has the exact number and they're all in exact spots. So I got to go through, pick all the colours, and I came up with the idea of relaunching Corn Blue, because Corn Blue has been one of my favourite Lumiere saddle pad colours for a long old time. And when people always ask me like what my favourite colour is from Lumiere, I normally say like ones that are in stock and ones that are current, because Corn Blue has been sold out for ages. They actually sold that before Lumiere even ever did clothing, so there's never been clothing in Corn Blue before, and it's a colour that I thought would be really fun to relaunch, because I mean, obviously there are only so many colours in the rainbow, but I wanted to put my own twist on things. And also I just think that colour is absolutely stunning. Normally when people ask me what my favourite Lumiere colour is, I say the Wisteria or I say the Mist. So like very pastel-y, blue, purple colours. And I say the Corn Blue is like the in the middle colour. I'd say it's a little bit more bold. It's still I'd say a pastel colour, but it's got a bit more vibrance to it. It's not all wishy-washy. So I just think it pops on every single coloured horse. If you have a chestnut, if you have a bay, if you have a grey, if you have a dun, if you have a palomino, whatever you have. And also the colour blue, it pretty much suits most people of whatever race you are, skin colour, tone. I'd say blue is one of those like very safe colours, and it just looks, especially if someone has blue eyes, like Mickey with his blue eyes, the blue pops. Anyway, especially on a sunny day, and it's just such a summery colour. So when designing the collection, I kind of wanted to add some other colours with it. So on the binding, we have the kind of stone colour, and we also have I want to, it's probably got a proper name, but I want to call it like a dusky navy. So it's like a navy, but a little bit more grey. I was going to say gravy, but that sounds like food. Like gravy I was going to say gravy on your chips, but some people would say that's very controversial, putting gravy. I think that's more of like a northern thing. I do have northern family, but I love a bit of gravy on chips, or for my Americans, fries, but we call them chips. And is it called poutine? Sorry, I've gone on a whole food topic here, but my friend's Canadian. I think it's called poutine. If you don't know what it is, it's basically chips with gravy and like cheese as well, like melted cheese. All your Canadians are going to be like, no, it's got this, and this in as well. But that's the stuff I've had is kind of like that. And very salty. You need a lot of water afterwards, but that is very good. Anyway, off topic. I'm talking about gravy too much. Anyway, moving on. It's sort of like a grey navy. I want to say a dusky navy. That sounds really weird, but I think it's really nice also if you're the sort of person where when you go to the barn, when you go to the stables, I wanted to add something that's a little bit darker, that's a little bit more practical, but also I was going to say this sounds a little bit TMI because my horses get a bit dusty. I was going to say a bit dandruffy. Don't worry, they don't have dandruff legs. But you know, like horses, when you're brushing them off, they get a bit dusty sometimes. And especially if you're wearing black, like sometimes you think black is a really practical colour, but actually when you get all dust on you, it just shows up the dirt so easily. So I was like, I want to come up with a colour that's very dirt resistant. So this kind of grey navy colour. It's dark enough that grass stains, mud stains don't show up as well and washes out, but also it's light enough that if you get dust on you, it's all good. And also you don't really want to wear too much black in the summer, especially if it's really hot, because you're going to get sweaty. Also, one of the other things was making sure that it was really breathable, especially under the arms. And I'm actually, the plan is for today, for me, after filming this podcast episode, is for me to do a full-on tack haul with everything. I still need to film that, because we always joke with Lumiere, it's always Lumiere time. So they'll kind of like bring us up being like, hi, we actually moved our collection forward by a week, so you've got a week to try and shoot all the content. So that's what I'm doing before I go away at the end of this week. So anyway, lots of exciting stuff. So sorry that I don't want the beginning of this podcast episode to seem like an ad, but I love all things fashion, as you guys know. I love all things like designing, creative, and yeah, that's kind of like the behind the scenes of creating an equestrian clothing collection, I guess. So there we go, fun stuff. Obviously there's a lot more that goes behind the scenes of I was very lucky to work with lots of like fashion designers as well behind it, and you know, there's a lot of work that goes into these things, like just organization of how much to order, getting the stock in, that kind of stuff. So that's the like more boring stuff, but I've been talking about all the cool, cute, creative stuff, which is like a very small portion of how all of it works. But anyway, we actually had a photo shoot with the horses the other day for that collection. So the Lemire team came around my house, said hi to all the horses, and the night before I was like I was in a frantic cleaning mode. I was trying to wash all the horses. Luckily, I think Casper had a few poo stains on him. Joey stayed very clean overnight, so well done, Joey. Casper, on the other hand, yeah, there were a few poo stains and stable stains that I did have to clean off that morning. But oh my gosh, Casper, he looked like a whole new horse, because like a week or two before, I thought I'll give him a full clip so he looks really smart, because 2 weeks ago, he looked like an Irish bog pony. He looked like I'd just grabbed him off the Connemara Hills, and he also, like, Casper's an older horse now. He's an older gentleman. He's 18, which I know isn't actually that old nowadays with modern veterinary medicine and that kind of thing. Like, he's still going, he's still living his life. He can still go some on the bridle paths. Like, sometimes he goes so fast that my eyes start watering. So there we go. But anyway, so yeah, but he wasn't feeling himself. He wasn't feeling cute. It wasn't a sleigh. He was looking a little crusty. I don't know if that's the best way to describe him, but he looked like, that little grey pony that every stables has, that's looking a little bit old, a little bit yellow, a little bit dirty, and you're like, oh, Caspy, you need a clean, you need a bath. So yeah, he's like a whole new, he went back to Pony Club Aventa, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what Casper looked like in his prime. Like, he had a full clip, he had a full wash. I think washing his mane and like trimming his mane a little bit made the world of difference. I always think if you have a horse that's fully clipped with a nice mane, hoof oil, and a white saddle pad, they look smart, they look professional. Of course, we didn't go for a white saddle pad, we went for a cute corn blue one, which I think is better than a white one. But anyway, moving on. But no, he looked so cute, and to be fair, I was actually so proud of Casper and Joey. They were both so good. We like blocked out a whole day pretty much with Lemire to do this photo shoot, and we were pretty much done by like 1 o'clock, and we had lunch, and it was cute, it was great, it was chilled. To be fair, I've got to say, my horses, they, that this is what they do. This is their job. Like, Lemire were like, oh my gosh, they just stand perfectly still. And like, Casper does this thing where he can hear the shutter of the camera click, and then he like looks at the camera and puts his ears forward. So he knows his stuff. He knows what he's doing. Like, they like to show off, my horses. They're very good. Also, Joey's the sort of horse, like, you don't want me to like do all these dressage moves and work really hard. I can just stand here and look pretty. Go ahead, I'm loving life. All the attention, all the treats. Joey had like all these people around him, like fussing over him, like brushing through his mane, his tail when the wind was blowing. And the other thing that also is quite funny, if you've ever, I say if you've ever done a photo shoot, most people as me have not done a photo shoot, but what is quite funny is how much goes like behind the scenes of making things perfect. Because when me and my dad, when we're just the two of us taking photos, like, it can be a lot. Like, sometimes we feel like we need an extra person just to like, try and get the horse's ears forward, making sure that everyone's like hair is out of their face, looking good, that kind of thing. But with the Lemire team, like, it has to be perfect. Like, the horse has to be perfectly square. And the amount of times where Joey accidentally took a step forward and I was like, sorry, someone's gonna have to come along and put his leg in the right place. Or other things, like, they are very specific with having your base layer tucked into your leggings, which is what I normally do. But I mean, the way to basically they do this weird like tucking in thing to make sure that you like there basically isn't any creases or any lines, so it looks really sleek. When I'm the sort of gal where I'm just like, just shove it in there, it'll be fine. So the amount of times where especially if we were doing different angles, so if it was from a front shot, it needed to look all nice and neat at the front, and then if it was a back shot, it needed to look nice and neat from like the back, because obviously taking pictures of clothing, you need to get all the different angles. So poor Brad, the amount of times where he was like, can I just sort out your tucking issue? I was like, yep, go for it. So I was just standing here just having my shirt tucked in, which the first time you have it done, it feels a little bit weird. It feels like if it either brings you back to when you're a child and your mum used to dress you or your dad used to dress you, which feels very weird, or I'm not going to go into any more details, but it does feel a little bit weird having someone tuck your trousers in. Anyway, moving swiftly on. But no, the photo shoot was really good fun. All the horses really good. And then, can't say anything because it's not been signed off, but we did have a few members from the fashion team at Lemure come over, and we might have done some planning for some things that I'm not allowed to disclose because I have signed a non-disclosure agreement or an NDA. So that's why I've had to keep it secret for so long. Also, I felt so bad when we were shooting this collection. So we've been shooting it for a while. Me and my dad just at home with the horses as well, because we want to try and get as much content as we can for the launch. So the other day I was out in the village across the bridle path. It was there's this one area which is so pretty. It has all of these buttercups, and we like to take the photos there because it's just really pretty. And anyway, there was this girl that came up to me and be like, oh my gosh, like me and my friends and my family love watching your videos, can I get a photo? And this is the like one time where I've said to somebody, I'm really sorry. Like, I have never felt so awful in my life. I had to be like, I'm really sorry. I'm wearing a collection that's not out yet, and I've signed an NDA. And I was like, wait, this person might not know what an NDA is, because I didn't know what an NDA was until a few years ago when I had to start like signing these things, like signing my life away, being like, nope, yes, I will keep this secret and I will not tell anybody. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but if this photo gets out anywhere, then I will be in legal issues and I do not want to be in legal issues. So I was like, if you ever see me again in the village, you're more than welcome to come and get a photo. But what I'm wearing right now, what Joey is wearing right now, I don't want to go to prison. I'm too scared for that. I don't want to do anything illegal. So I felt really, really awful. So anyway, that is the behind the scenes of my collection with Lemure. And yeah, I just want to say huge thank you to Lemure and also to you guys that made the first collection with them so successful and made it so I can do another one, because you're the reason that I can do these awesome, really cool, exciting things. So yeah, thank you very, very much. Again, it's, well, at the time of filming, it's not out yet, so I can't really be like, thanks for all the lovely comments of you guys saying that you love it, because you guys might actually turn around and be like, Esme, we hate it. What is this monstrosity that you have created? But if you, at the time, now, if you're listening to this, then it is out. So if you want to go and check it out, you can get it at Red Post. And also, at the moment, it's only for sale in the UK. But if, again, Red Post ship all over the world. So if you're from America or Australia or somewhere in Europe and you would like to get the Esme Lemure Cornflower Blue collection, then you can get it at Red Post. Sorry, I'm being such a influencer, content creator, salesy person. I don't mean to be like that, but again, I just wanted to talk about it because it's an exciting thing, and I know that you guys like are probably also interested in equestrian fashion and stuff. But anyway, let's talk about what else I've been up to. I feel like recently the podcast hasn't really been very Esme's country life. It has been Esme's city life, because London has been like my second home recently. I feel like I'm a commuter city London girl at the moment, because I have been to my local train station and got the train up to London quite a few times recently. Luckily, we're not too far away. We're just over an hour away from London, or it's like an hour on the train and then like a little bit longer to get to the train station. But very exciting thing, like one of the wildest things that I have been able to do with my job recently, again, thanks to you guys for watching and stuff, because if not, this would never have happened. But I was invited to the Instagram content creator Big Bake, which is basically like the Instagram version of the Great British Bake Off, but they have to call it something slightly different, I'm pretty sure, because of copyright reasons. But it was in London, and it was just like the Great British Bake Off in the sense where we were in a tent, we all had stations. Now, I cannot lie, I was a little bit nervous for entering into this situation, especially if you listen to one of my previous podcast episodes where I talked about going to Bridgeton and meeting some other content creators or influencers, or I think they were more Instagram models, and meeting them, and they weren't the friendliest. They blanked me. But anyway, so I was like, oh my gosh, what's this going to be like? Because this is quite, I don't want to big myself up here, but this was quite a big thing. It was a big thing for me. For these guys that were also there, they do this like every week. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to like this makeup, like yoga, puppy class, influencer session this week, and then I'm going to this thing that week, and they're like, oh, you're going to that thing that week, and I'm like, this is the first thing I've been invited to. But it was like a big thing as well. Well, I thought it was a big thing because it was with Instagram or Meta, so anyway, my Meta lady Belle, she very kindly got me in, and at first I thought like, oh my gosh, all of these people are going to be like, who is this gal? irrelevant, never met her before. She's never come to any of these cliquey content creator kind of things. But everyone was actually so lovely and so welcoming. The group, maybe I've just had some bad luck with content creators I've met in the past, but this group of people was so lovely. So the way it was a really cool kind of place, because when you first walk in, there's like you open a fridge door and that's how you go into the place. It's one of those kind of quirky things. So I kind of arrived, I was like, hi, I'm Esme, and they like ticked me off the list. And when you first walked in, they gave you a number depending on what team you are. So I was number 9, so they did put me right at the back, but I was like, that's fine, this is my first, like, I'm not a front and center kind of gal. Like, they obviously going to put the more successful people at the front. But anyway, so that was really fun. So when I first walked in, everyone was kind of like chatting, getting to know each other. Everyone was really friendly as well. Like, when I first said like hi to the gals, they all gave me a hug and that kind of thing. I was like, oh, this is actually really lovely. Nobody is blanking me this time. We also got like little name labels. Honestly, it felt like my first day of school. I can't remember if I said that about the Netflix premiere, but it felt even more like my first day of school, where everyone had like little name badges where you and I wasn't really sure, because some people just put their name, most people put their Instagram handle, some people put their Instagram handle and their name. So I put my name first, because I was like, I'm Esme first, then I'm this Esme. So, but most people just put their Instagram handle. But anyway, so I had that on my little top, and everyone was really lovely. What was really cool was the amount of people where they were like, everyone was from like very different kind of niches and backgrounds. So there were some people that did comedy, there were some people that did music, there were some people that did fashion, there were some people that did like lots of other different bits and bobs, or like fitness, that kind of thing. And then I was there like, oh, I do horses. So that was a little bit different. I was like, it's very niche, but I'm trying to do more things, like obviously still in the horse world, because you guys know I love horses and they're going to be a part of my life forever. But it's been really fun recently doing lots of things like outside of the horse world, and that's given me a lot of really incredible opportunities that I'm very grateful for. But also, the more things that I do outside of the horse world, the more eyes that we can get onto the horse world, if that makes sense, and try and grow our sport and try and make it more accessible, and all the things that I'm trying to do in the equestrian world at the moment. But anyway, so it was really lovely talking to people, and a lot of people, actually, I was surprised by how many people used to actually like ride horses. They were like, oh my gosh, no way, I used to ride horses when I was younger, or like my family has horses, or my sister rides. And I was like, no way. And then there were the normal people that, if you're an equestrian, you know that when you talk to somebody who doesn't ride, they always go, oh, I rode like a horse on a beach once, or somebody always has like a really horrible, horrific accident story, like, oh yeah, when I was on holiday once, I rode this horse and it bucked me off, and I've never touched a horse since, and I'm petrified of them. And I'm like, okay, good. Sorry about that. Just bringing up some trauma or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, everyone was really lovely. And the whole time, everyone was basically going around being like, oh, what number are you? Like, we were trying to figure out what teams we were in. So we were kind of in team groups of 3. So anyway, we were going around, and there were actually quite a few content creators that I recognised from, obviously, online. You just see people's faces, you're like, oh, you're that person, or like, oh my gosh, you're like smaller than I thought in real life, or you're taller than in real life. It's very kind of like weird when you meet somebody that you've seen on a screen before. But anyway, so I have a really embarrassing story. So it goes to show everyone was actually really lovely, but I did embarrass myself a little bit. So some of you might know who this person is, and I'm going to say her name because she was actually really lovely. And I always feel weird talking about other people on the podcast without their permission, but I'm going to say her name because she was really lovely. So some of you might know Grace, aka GK Barry. She is a content creator in the UK, who's very big in England, I'd say. Now, when I went around and introduced myself, like, oh, hi, it's me, nice to meet you, she was so lovely, and she was like, oh my gosh, I love your shirt, because I was wearing this like pink stripy shirt, and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, I don't know, when you just like meet some people and you're like, I was worried that she was going to be really like mean. I don't know why, but she was so lovely. And I was like, oh, like, what team are you on? Because I'm trying to like figure out who's on my team yet, and I haven't found anyone. And I was so embarrassed because she was like, oh, she said it in the best way you possibly could to make it not awkward. She was like, don't hold me to this because it was such a whirlwind of a day, so I don't want to quote something like completely wrong, but it was something she said something on the lines of, oh, I don't even know why they invited me here, like I managed to get out of doing all the baking thing, I'm just here for the funsies or something. So she didn't say funsies, but like that kind of thing, like she's like, oh, you guys are doing all the baking, I've got out of that kind of stuff. Anyway, Grace ended up being one of the main presenters for the show. So I was like, oh, that's really embarrassing, because I was like, oh, you doing the baking thing? No, she was the main presenter. Goodness gracious. I was like, when I realized, I was like, somebody give me a hole, I want to go and crawl in it and cry. Anyway, it was fine. She was really lovely. And then who was sitting next to Grace? This other lady. And again, she was really lovely. And I was like, oh, after Grace, I was like, oh, if Grace ain't doing it, what team are you on? And then she just looked at me and went, I'm Grace's manager. And I was like, oh my goodness, please, someone take me away. Someone take me away. To be fair, it was the first time that I'd met both of them, and it was okay. It's okay. To be fair, she's a busy gal, Grace. She will not be remembering this. She will not care. But anyway, she was very, very lovely. I don't know why I thought, I just like, you know, when you see people online and you're just like, you're really successful. I'm a little bit scared. I was a little bit nervous. But anyway, so she was very lovely. And anyway, I found my teammates. And we decided to call ourselves, I think it was the Destroyers, because we're going to destroy the competition. The thing was, though, I felt like we had a bit of a disadvantage. Now, I don't want to seem really mean, but basically everybody's team had at least one baking content creator on there. So someone who was a little bit chefy, someone like who knows how to bake a cake. But our team, we didn't have a baking content creator. We had a chef, and he was like, guys, I'm really sorry, but I don't do cake. So we were from the get-go, we had a bit of a disadvantage. That's all I'm going to say. So the chef that was on my team was the Naughty Chef, and his name is Jordan. And then we also had Watson, and his Instagram handle is That's Watson, which I found really funny because I was like, oh my gosh, you're That's Watson. I'm this Esme. Perfect. Anyway, so to be fair, our team, we might have not made the best cake, but we definitely had the best vibes. We got along so well, and we were just like laughing the whole time. You know when you just like, I don't know, just hang out with someone, it just clicks. To be fair, we were probably I was just standing in a room full of big personalities, because if you're a content creator, you can't be boring. So everyone there was proper, you know. I mean, I'm a content creator. I'm an introvert, but I can be a fake extrovert. You know, like when I hang out with people, I can be loud, I can be out there, but I do need to go in a quiet room on my own in the evening and have some time alone to recharge. But no, it was really lovely. Like everyone again was really lovely. So me and Jordan, I was like, Jordan, I've got a plan. Okay, do you know what we should do? Because, I haven't even said the most exciting part is, one of the judges was the head of Instagram. I want to say his name right because I'm definitely going to butcher it. But Adam Missouri, he was there. So I was like, I don't want to say fangirl moment, but you know, basically he's like the president or the prime minister of Instagram. So that's like, dude, you're like the highest up boss of my game here. Like that was very cool. So I was like, do you know what we should do? I'm gonna girl boss it. So I know like girl boss, some people say is such like a cringe term, but it is my go-to phrase of being like, Esme, you need to get your bum in gear. You need to get yourself out of your comfort zone, and you just need to do it. Like Nike says, just do it. Sorry, that's not an ad. It just came into my head. Anyway, so I was like, Jordan, do you know what we should do? We should go up to Adam, introduce ourselves first, shake his hand, and then ask him what his favourite cake flavour is, because he is one of the judges and we need to make a cake for him. So we were like, perfect. Went up, said hello, shook his hand, nice to meet you, that kind of thing. And then we're like, okay, Adam, we need to know what your favourite cake flavour is. So if you want to know, he said anything citrus. So we were like, okay, perfect. We should do like an orange and lemon cake. And then there were like different fillings for the cake. So there was lime, but we thought, you know what goes really well with orange? Passion fruit. So we did an orange, passion fruit and lime cake, and oh my gosh, those flavors, very good, very good. Anyway, so it was kind of like a quick go. So we had Watson doing the like cake batter, we had Jordan doing all the kind of so it was a gravity cake, which is like, you know, baking a cake is difficult enough as it is, but a gravity cake, if you don't know what a gravity cake is, it's basically, often it's some sort of sweets, candy or chocolate that looks like it's coming out of a bag and it's kind of like floating. So normally you get like a wooden stick and put a bag on, and then you kind of, with the I think we used melted down marshmallows as the stickiness to stick it all together. So there are lots of different sweets that you can choose from. So I was like, let's go jelly beans because they're nice and bright. But also because it was passion fruit, lime and orange, I went through the jelly beans, and what did I do? Of course, I colour coordinated them. So I took out all the pink ones, took out all the purple ones. So the only jelly bean colours we had were yellow, orange, green and white. So they went with all the citrusy colours. Now, our cake, we were chatting away. We were having a good time. We were goofing around. We were going around chatting to other people. We definitely used it more as a network session than making a really good cake session. But it was good fun. It was good chatting to everyone. Anyway, so we might have got our cake in the oven a little bit later than everybody else. That's all I'm saying. I'm not naming any names. But so anyway, in order to get it done in time, because we only had 2 hours to do this. And the time pressure, that 2 hours went by so quickly. We definitely did not have enough time, but we were trying to cool down our cake. Now, because it was a hot day in the summer, they had all of these, like, you know, those metal kind of fans, industrial fans everywhere. So we were like, do you know what we should do? Put the cake on the fan. So Jordan went to go and put it on the fan. What happened? There might have been a little bit of cake that landed on the floor, but my ninja skills, I managed to catch most of it. I cannot confirm or deny if the cake fell on the floor. That was the cake that went in the cake, but some did land on the floor. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, luckily Grace, Adam and everyone who tried the cake is still alive to this day, so it's all good. It's all good. But so we put it all together. There are some photos that Belle, my friend from Meta, took pictures of, and my concentration face is so our cake was not looking good. It was a little bit crumbly. Our cake was also a little bit lopsided. Also, it was a 4-tier cake, which I feel like is pretty adventurous because I'm normally a 2-tier cake kind of gal. Like, that's high enough for me. You know, we weren't trying to make the shard or anything like that. So anyway, our cake was a little bit wonky, and I was like, okay, it's not looking its best. And it was like proper sliding. It was like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So I was like, what can we do? So the weirdest side, or the like more dodgy, sketchy looking side, was what we did, the jelly bean waterfall. And then the other bit, actually, I was quite proud of the icing colour that I made, because we were like, let's do orange to go with the oranges. We put the orange food dye in, and it looked like fish paste. It just looked disgusting. It looked like some sort of, to be fair, it looked like the horse's wormer a little bit, but I didn't say that because I didn't want them to think I was the weird horse girl. Anyway, so I was like, let's put some yellow in, and we actually got a really nice colour orange in the end. But yes, and then I was like, okay, this is not looking good. So what did I do? I was creative, and I cut up loads of oranges and limes and lemons and put them around the side so you couldn't see how dodgy it looked and where all the buttercream and the butter icing was. Because we needed a freezer. That's what we needed. We needed to put it in the freezer for a little bit. We needed to do a crumb coat. We had no time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. We just had to slap it on and hope for the best. So anyway, everyone's cake looked incredible, like it was on an Instagram reel, basically. They all looked like they had just come out of the beautiful world of Instagram. And ours looked like it had been dropped from a 7-story building onto a swamp. So it wasn't looking its best. So everyone's was all pretty, and then ours looked so sad in the corner. But all I can say is Adam, Mr. Instagram, did come over and nicked some of our jelly beans and ate them before our cake was done. So all I'm going to say is ours looked so good that he started eating it before it was finished. So I'm going to say that's good. Ours was memorable. And you know what? Sometimes in this life, you don't need to be the best. Sometimes being memorable is good enough. So anyway, and then all the judges kind of, to be fair, I felt so bad because it wasn't ours, thank goodness, but there was one where Grace, bless her, it was like she was doing a bush tucker trial. She did not like that flavour. I can't remember which one it was, maybe, but she had a big gulp of water afterwards. I was like, bless her. Imagine how awkward that must be with all these people watching you, and also everyone, you know, it was like influencers in the world, everyone was filming it as well. And imagine filming Grace eating a cake and she's there like gagging on it like this, disgusting. Anyway, so that was, you know, props to her. That was some pressure there. Anyway, so that was good fun. What else happened? Oh yeah, so anyway, they were like, then when they were going through everyone's cake and they were like, okay, who's the, not like team leader, but they were like, okay, whose cake is this? And I was like, mine, because none of my teammates wanted to put their hand up and claim our cake because it looked so awful. So I had to English GCSE my way through and just think of all of this like wafty stuff to talk about, because there were all these chefs and bakers there, like, okay, so we've gone for a coffee crumb coat with an essence of this, that and the other, and then to enhance the flavour we've added some of this and of that. And I was like, I cannot do this. So you know, in life sometimes you just have to be confident and pretend you know what you're talking about. So I was like, so this cake, I just randomly decided to name it. I was like, this cake is called the Citrus Samba. We have flavours of orange blossom. Like, I was really going for it. And I was like, you might think it's misshapen, but actually we've decided to make it round on purpose so it looks more like an orange. And like, I didn't know where this came from, but I really probably got into it. And then I was like, Adam has a very difficult job. He's got a lot of people to make happy. So we decided to ask Adam what his favourite flavour was and make this one for you. So here we go. I was like, Esme, where has this come from? What are you doing? Anyway, so it was funny. It was a good time. And so one thing I've learned from my job in life is it's more awkward to be awkward and less awkward to be confident. If you're confident in what you're doing, then, you know, people are like, she's doing life. Anyway, so that is the moral of today's story. Sometimes you don't need to make the best cake. It's about the journey of making it and the friends you make along the way. Sorry, that was so cringe. We just had so much fun. It was a fun day. And no, it was actually really lovely, like chatting to everyone afterwards. They had like a little pizza party, so we had pizza afterwards. It's one of those days where I just did not drink enough water. I was just busy talking to everyone, busy making this cake, and then afterwards I was like hungry, thirsty. But no, and then also I got to chat to Adam afterwards, and he said he liked my phone case with the horses on. So that's kind of how I got chatting to him about horses, because I felt really bad. I had to be that person being like, hi, well, actually I was kind of like in a bit of a queue. I was behind some other people that are getting a photo with him. I was like, do you mind if I get a photo as well? But it was very cool to be able to talk to him about the platform and the good that, you know, social media can do. Because it was very cool talking to him about the laws that you guys have been able to manage to change. And like literally, this sounds a bit deep, but I was like, yeah, we managed to change some laws. I put this petition up on my story, and all of you guys managed to sign it. And that was for the donkey skin trade with the Brook charity that has now been passed through as a law. So it's now illegal to steal donkeys for their skin and skin them. So good for the donkeys, woo! And then sorry, I tried to make that a bit more lighthearted because it is a little bit of a deep topic. And then also the other thing was with World Horse Welfare. I think for 90 years they've been trying to get this thing through Parliament for the Kept Animals Act, which basically is helps prevent animals being smuggled out of the UK for slaughter. So not just horses, all animals. And that has managed to come through again thanks to you guys signing the petition. So yes, unfortunately, there are some darker and not so nice sides to social media, but it's also nice to remember and think about all the positives that social media can bring into the world and people's lives as well. So on that note, I think that is definitely enough of me talking about deep things and also laughing at how bad my cake was. But I really hope you enjoyed today's podcast episode. It's been a little bit here, there and everywhere talking about different things. But again, I feel like they're always the most fun ones where I just kind of go off topic and talk about gravy. Anyway, so if you would like to check out my collection, again, it's available at redpostequestrian.co.uk. Thank you to Red Post for sponsoring, and I'll see you all next time with a lot to update as well. A lot more travel, a lot more going on. Anyway, see you next time. Bye!